Welcome, everybody, to the April 25th board meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
Mrs. Zario.
Here.
Mr. Ballard.
Here.
Ms. Washington.
Here.
Mr. Ferguson.
In attendance.
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Recognition of visitors.
Lisa?
Yeah.
Lisa, Ms. Guy, and what we've been trying to do now is we're getting back to a safer environment for us to gather together. We want to make sure that we're honoring those who are just doing exceptional work in our district, staff and students. So Melissa Roberson is going to walk us through some of those celebration-worthy people.
Yes, I'm here for a little building and student highlights. I like this part of the board meeting. I'm going to start with early college recognition, so we're going to bring Amanda Hay up.
Hi, thanks for inviting us. We're really excited because this is the first graduating class from the early college at Lorain High. For those of you who've been here a long time, we were a member of early college with Lorain County Community College and partner with Elyria City Schools for about 15 years. And about 7 years ago, we started incorporating more college credits into the high school. And about 5 years ago, we became our own early college program. So these students this year will be our first graduating class from the in-house early college program at Lorain.
And Amanda, can you walk folks through that may not understand what the difference is between just college credit plus classes and an early college program, and what's different between the one that we have and the one that was on the Elyria campus
Sure.
of LCCC?
So
Thanks.
the easiest piece would be the College Credit Plus. College Credit Plus is when students earn a few high school credits while they're in high school. They can earn up to an associate's degree, but typically they start, it can be any time in high school, but our students would typically start that as a sophomore because they wouldn't be part of the early college cohort. An early college is an associate's degree program built into high school that students start their freshman year and take classes gradually throughout the entire time they're in high school to earn their associate's degree. The program with Elyria provided us the opportunity to participate in an early college, but it was on main campus at LCCC. And every year we had the opportunity to have 50 of our students go to Elyria main campus and 50 Elyria students. And then they would participate in an associate's degree program from their freshman year all the way to their senior year. We thought we could do one in our high school, so we began looking at that opportunity, and so as a cost savings measure, amongst other things, we were able to create an early college high school within our own high school.
In terms of cost, it was an incredible cost savings, and not because the college did anything to take advantage, but just because of doing things in-house was much more cost-effective. But again, this came about as a result of your leadership, your guidance, and your expertise put it together. So thank you for that.
Thank you. So, as I said, this year is a really exciting year for us because it is our first in-house homegrown group of early college grads. Not that we're not proud of our students that are continued to be at Elyria, because we do have 15 students that are finishing up there this year, and 14 of those students will earn their associate's degree as well. So we are proud of them as well. But as our in-house program is concerned, we have approximately 100 students who earn some sort of college credit while in high school. And this could be your student that chose to take a College Credit Plus class, or this could be a student that started off in early college and it just wasn't the right fit for them. It didn't work out. They decided they didn't want to take college classes anymore. And then of those 100 students, we have about 38 students that'll be earning their associate's degree. Oh, I'm supposed to be clicking, and I'm not. This is our cohort group right here. This is on signing day. Every year, when it's time for their students to sign for graduation for their associate's degree, we bring our students in and we have them check over their graduation paperwork, and then they used to have to physically sign it. This year was hard for me because it was all digital, so they actually got on a laptop and they did it that way. But we did it all together as a group, and it's just a nice way for all of our students to come together. We can give them all the information they need for graduation because they do graduate from Lorain County Community College and from Lorain High. And so it's a really big deal. It's an exciting day. It's a chance for us to kind of bring them in and celebrate them. You said hold it, right? Mm-mm. I have you. Over here.
Just click to the right.
Here, maybe you have the magic touch? I don't know.
23.
Can you help us, Drew? You be our pointer.
So these are some of our seniors, and what we do after they do signing day, we bring them back again for another time. And this started because of COVID, because graduation wasn't something that was in person, it was virtual, virtual in the last couple years. So for our students, we started bringing them in, and we would give them a time slot over in the outreach center, and they would bring their family in to celebrate graduation, and then they would take pictures in their cap and gown, and the school district provides them their cap and gown, so they would get that as well. And then we were able to acquire a fake diploma. So they take pictures with the fake diploma, and then they take pictures with where they're attending for school. So this is just a few of our graduates and where they're attending. And Emily's on the end, and she's here with us tonight. And then these are all of our students and that are graduating and where they're going if they had made a decision and what they plan on studying. We've noticed that since we've had the early college program in-house, a lot more of our students have started going away to school, which is great. We think that it helps build their confidence, and they start feeling more at ease with the idea of being away on a college campus because they've done a lot of the work already. And then they have the confidence to kind of take that next step and go away to a four-year campus. Some of our students choose to continue on with Lorain County Community College and pursue a partnership or a different two-year degree. All the students in the early college program at our high school typically earn an Associate of Arts degree. If we have a student that has a particular interest and we find out early enough, we can try and cater to them for that, for the most part. I mean, we can't do like ultrasound at the high school, right? But we can do an Associate of Science or an Associate of Business, something like that, if it ever was needed. So these are all of our students, all 38 of them.
And for those students who have board members' faces on their squares, I apologize, but this will be available online and be a little cleaner.
Oh, it's working now. Oh, okay. It is working now. And then we have a couple of our graduates here in case you guys had any questions for our students. So I'm going to have them come up and say who they are and where they're going or what their plans are for next year. And then if you have any questions for them, feel free. I'm going first.
Hi.
Hello. So I'm
I'm Emily. I'm going to go to CSU, Cleveland State, and I'm going to do the partnership with Lorain CC. And I want to be an art therapist, so I'm going to major in psychology and then minor in the arts.
Outstanding. What's your passion? What art?
I really like ceramics, but I've always been all sorts of art. Like any type of art has always been my go-to. And then like clubs and stuff, I'll be in theater.
Thanks, Emily. Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Parker Kapranica. I finally made a decision on where to go to college about 3 days ago, I think. So I'll be going to OU and double majoring in broadcast and strategic news and information journalism. I started here at the early college program my sophomore year after transferring in my freshman year.
Excellent. And Parker's also on the Student Superintendent Advisory Council, and we made some progress on a lot of the ideas that they came up with, but a lot of those were Parker's, and I think you'll see a lot of changes in our high school as a result. So I want to thank you for your leadership there, too.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Hello, my name is Faye Latoye, and I've decided that I want to attend Howard University and major in international business, minor in foreign language. It just struck me as an interest because, like, from my mom's background and the background of my family, I wanted to do something that, like, I would be able to reach, like, globally instead of just, like, marketing, like, within, like, America, you know? So, like, yeah.
Excellent. So what language?
Yoruba, that's her first language. So like, but my language will be Spanish. Like I want to be fluent in Spanish by the time I like get out of college. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Did it? That's awesome. And if I could, while they're walking back to their seats, I just want to say thank you. I know that going to board meetings isn't necessarily the glamorous opportunity that sometimes we make it out to be, but I just want to, I think it's important for the people on TV, the people in the room, to know what great kids we have. And I just want to thank you for representing us as well as you do. And again, they didn't turn out that way by accident, so go home and thank your folks, thank your teachers, and pretty excited about what comes next for you.
some of our building highlights. On Friday was Earth Day, so students from Larkmore Elementary School, they use it as a community service day. Some of our students, they went out and they picked up trash around the neighborhood, and some of them also, they beautified the campus around Larkmore, planting flowers and just making sure it's a beautiful place. And this is gonna be like a perfect setup for a community-wide event we're having on May 11th. In the daytime, our buildings will get together and they'll do a lot more community service, and then in the evening, Titan Fam will have the spring fling. It's gonna be at Lorain High School from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Excuse the Elyria reference.
If I could really quick, just kind of jump, I was actually
Yes.
there watching our students work from Larkmore in the neighborhood, and you'd think you'd have all these students that were out there, they'd be crazy, and no, they were focused. They took great pride in the work that they were doing, and it was fun to watch.
Toni Morrison also continued the Earth Day celebrations. They had a little skit in their building on Friday, learning all about pollution and recycling and smog and how to take care of the environment, which kind of goes into our PBIS initiatives, was be kind to the environment. So they're going to learn how to be heroes to the world around them. And speaking of being kind, our students are also kind to each other. These are students from Washington Elementary School who've paired up with classes from the K-3 grades to be reading buddies. They kind of, the fourth graders get together with the younger students and read books together. And then General Johnny Wilson Middle School also does that, paying it back to Washington students. They come over, you know, the buildings are so close to each other that the older students have the opportunity to go back and see the younger students and also read with them. And so you guys will find in the community, you will see a lot of this information and a lot of these find yourself in Lorain City Schools. This started from a conversation the communications team had when we talked about how our students have really found themselves on stage or on the court or in the classrooms. They can find who they are and where they want to be in the community. So we're starting this new campaign, Find Yourself in Lorain City Schools. And it's going to focus a lot on the arts because we're going to be expanding the fine arts programming for the 2022-23 school year. You guys have heard a lot about that. You'll be seeing a lot more of that in the future. Speaking of arts, our Lorain High School Drama Club, they did a presentation of Annie over the weekend. I don't know how many of you guys went to see it, but it was amazing.
I give a shout out to our kids on that one too. That was an outstanding show. Yeah, thank you. And we've had many quality presentations here in the past, but as a result of the board's support, we were able to redo the sound system in there. And I tell you what, every whisper on stage you could hear, and it was fantastic.
And from our expansion of the fine arts, one of the things that our students really wanted to see was more dance in their buildings. We did a survey of our community and they really wanted to bring back dance. So as you can see, we had dancing classrooms in Northeast Ohio already in the buildings this year, and they taught a lot of our students some of these classic ballroom dances, and so they really enjoy that, and we hope to expand those kind of opportunities for next school year. And now we're preparing for more fine arts. This is going to be our visual arts. On Thursday, we're going to get ready for the All-City Art Show. We have more than 300 students who have their artwork on display. This will be Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Transportation Building. So we hope that you can get out there and you can see some of the beautiful artwork. You can see here one of our students, Mia, she's from Longfellow. She had to do a self-portrait, so we started off with a sketch, and you can see how her sketch turned into this beautiful piece of artwork and just how creative our students are. And lastly, I just want to mention that we are doing summer camps. This student here is in part of our Camp Invention after-school program. We're going to be expanding Camp Invention in the summertime. So Camp Invention for the summer will run for 2 weeks from June 13th to June 24th. Sign-ups are starting now, so if your kid is going to be interested in some of the STEM activities, I suggest you guys sign up for Camp Invention.
And do we have an update? I'm going to put you on the spot here on our community event. If not, I can.
The community event, the Titan Fam event?
The Titan Fam event?
Yes, Titan Fam is going to be on May 11th from 5:30 to 8 at the high school. We're going to have some free giveaways. We're going to have books. We're going to have STEM activities for each of the buildings. We're hoping to have some fun activities outside. Community partners will be there. We'll have a free meal. It's going to be a really great day.
It's really taken off. Again,
Yeah.
we've had some pretty good events, and this one's going to be right up there with them. So
you know, we're
Yeah.
looking to keep topping ourselves. We had the back to school event, and then we had the Winter Wonderland, and so now we have our spring event, and we're like, what can we bring to the district to excite parents, to get them to come out and get families to be engaged in the activities we have.
Exactly it. Our goal is community engagement, family engagement, and we've grown from the very first because we've listened. And again, what we try to do is listen and respond to what our families want. So I want to just thank that group. I know there are a lot of members on there, and it continues to grow, but I just want to thank them for their work.
Yeah. Titan Fam meets monthly, and we're always looking for more family members, community members. You don't have to be a parent in the district. You just need to care about our kids. You can join Titan Fam and help us grow it so that we can continue to bring quality events to the district.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
And I left some flyers for summer camp. If any of you guys are here and you're interested in your children signing up for summer camp, there's summer camp flyers on the table.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do a change up to our board agenda, only because, as I understand it, as I can see, there are a number of people in the audience, and I think they're here for a common reason. So what I'd like to do is invite Mary up. And Mary, if you can kind of walk folks through the process that we follow for an RFP and the legal process and how we landed where we landed, and then it'll be an opportunity to discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say I'm really happy.
You can move the
that we-
microphone closer.
I'm really happy that we have this many of our drivers. I'm so happy to see you here and that you care about the kids and the students in our district. So I'm really happy that you're here. I want to walk through the process and what we did. So we put out an RFP, a request for proposal, and that went out on the 21st of March, and it was out for a week till the 25th of March. We asked for a submission date for anybody that was interested in providing transportation, and that was to be submitted back to us by 1st of April. We had an opening date of those bids on the 4th of April, and we had a review team that went through those. That included myself, our treasurer, our transportation coordinator, our routing coordinator, and our projects coordinator. And also our procurement supervisor. And so the team went through, after our treasurer opened up those bids, we went through and looked at the cost factor first, and then we looked to make sure that everything was in line for what we had laid out in the request for the proposal, to make sure that both companies, there were two companies that provided proposals, had provided the required documents that we needed.
And when you say that, make sure that it was consistent with what we put in the proposal, so what you're saying is, and which is also consistent with the expectations we've had in the past. So this was, the way it's been phrased, apples to apples.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thanks.
So in those bid documents, of course, we asked the proposers for their identity and signature form, proposal submission cost, list of supervisory personnel, list of terminated transportation accounts, if any, list of maintenance personnel, hold harmless agreement, a list of current operations in Ohio, an affidavit of contract supplier and non-delinquency, and a surety bond. Once we went through all of that, both companies provided that in each proposal. We went through and started to check references. That was my job, to go through, call companies and school districts that the company, the one that actually provided a lower cost to our district to provide transportation, for me to vet them. And in that vetting process, I went through and called a number of districts. They primarily do a lot of transportation in Michigan. They provide transportation in Indiana, and then some transportation here in Ohio. The 5 school districts that I called all had nothing but good things to say about them. They've provided the service to the expectation that they had and above and beyond. We asked the hard questions, making sure that they would do the same things and provide the same service that we're getting currently from First Student. We asked about high school transportation. We want to make sure that we get our kids to school. We asked about providing transportation for our athletics. We asked about all of the things that we are currently providing and asked for better service. And when I say better, I want them to step up a little bit more. Whether the recommendation comes back that the board decides to stay with First Student or with the company that we've made the recommendation to go with, we expect a certain level of service for our kids and our community. Again, that's why I said I thank you so much, because our drivers make the difference in this community. So I thank you very much for being here. We prepared letters of recommendation for the board based on our vetting process, and asked the board to approve going with Auxilio Services, who is the other provider that came through with the proposal at a lower cost and met all the expectations.
I think just two of the legal pieces that I think that, questions that I've received a lot. Number one, after we receive the RFP, do we have to go back and give everybody an opportunity to negotiate? And by law, we can't. The other piece to that was, can we still choose to go with first student? And although legally, yes, we are a governmental agency, we have rules to play by, and we have to take the lowest bidder unless there's some incredible reason why we can't. So it's, things are actually very strict, very straightforward, very cut and dry. So the recommendation was thoroughly vetted by a team of people who are experts in what they do, and that's how we got to where we got.
Great. Thank you.
But again, I wanted to just make sure that that information was out there before public comment, so you can take, so what I don't want to do is be dismissive, so I want to give people a chance to speak to what their concerns are, but I also want to echo Mary's comments. I've been here, well, off and on now, for about 7 years. There's a couple of years in the middle where I wasn't, but I've heard great things about our drivers. So it's not any indication or a statement that we're not satisfied with the quality of people we have in our buses, but again, there's a process we have to follow, and candidly, $1.6 million is a lot of money. So that's why my recommendation is what it is, and that's why it's on the board agenda as follows.
Thank you.
Questions from the board for Mary before she steps down?
I would like to know, and I got this as a text from someone, and speaking of apples to apples, that this is based on, and you and I had this conversation, but I would like you to say this in front of them, that this wasn't based on 20 routes, this was based on 39 routes.
Correct. So part of that vetting process, and when we look at bids, when somebody comes in at a substantially lower cost factor, the first thing that I do, and part of the process, is to make sure that we've got everything in line with apples to apples, that we're providing a cost for 39 routes, not 20 or not 10 or whatever that might be. So when we asked that question to the company that we're recommending, they did come in and adjust that because they were basing their information on the T2 reports, and that was not an accurate figure. So we had 39
Can you explain
routes.
what a T2 report is, please?
So T2 are the state reports that we have to submit every year to the state, and that's all of our cost of everything that it runs, that we need to run transportation. And those have to be submitted to the state every year. And so based on that information is what they initially put their cost factor to. And so we went back and asked them to adjust their figure based on the current number of routes that we have.
The only other concern that I have, and I hope that, I mean, nobody's terribly comfortable with doing something new, but obviously we have a lot of good people in this room, and I hope that we give them first chance at any jobs. And I'm not asking you to leave anybody or go to anybody, but I just want people to know that they're valued by us.
Absolutely.
And you know.
And we have no say in the hiring process because we bid this out as a service. But again, I would just want to echo Bill's comments. I don't know what the process is going to be to fill those seats. I don't know what the process is going to be. But again, I hope that the faces I'm looking at tonight and the ones that have been on our buses greeting our children are in that mix.
And I would ask the two of the representatives from Auxilio Services, I did ask them to be here this evening for anything and any questions or concerns that they might be able to answer, just to make people feel more comfortable in the process. I understand when we have a company that's been here as long as First Student has, but again, these are people from our community. They're people that know our district. So it's not personal, it's business. But I would love for them to have the opportunity to maybe answer some of those questions as well, if that's okay with the board.
Okay, President Sturgill just nodded his head, so I guess in my mind, it makes sense to, after public comment, my guess is themes will arise, and after those themes arise, when people are done speaking, if maybe Auxilio can speak to the comment themes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one other question that I just got and I overlooked. We talked about providing service to the high schoolers. Will the new company provide a service to the preschoolers as well?
So that's based on a board policy, and I'm sure that they will provide whatever service we ask them to provide. But board policy has to dictate whether we provide services for preschool, because right now the board policy is K-8 at 2 miles, Preschool, we transport them if they are under a 504 or an IEP.
We have to provide transportations for students with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
Okay. Thank you.
And that would have been a part of the bid package.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate it, and all the work that went into this. Excuse me, I just have one more thing before we go back to order. I do have a walk-on item that I'd like to include, and this walk-on item would be item 10.19, and this is a memorandum of understanding between the school district and the Lorain Police Department, where in essence, historically speaking, our Director of Safety and Security was deputized. He was a deputy sheriff. Again, we want, moving forward, he's going to be commissioned as an officer on the Lorain Police Department. So instead of being attached to the sheriff, which is more appropriate for us to be part of LPD, because obviously there's not a strong sheriff's presence in town because of our police department. And I just want to thank the police department, city council had to approve all this, and I want to thank them for their support, and it's been a great partnership through some very difficult times here.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
A motion to walk this on?
Just to walk it on, yeah.
Yeah, motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Jay, any discussion?
I'm good.
Mark?
Good.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Nazario?
Yes.
Ms. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
With that done, I'd like to start first hearing of the public. Okay, and when you do speak, would you please sign in on the sheet up there so that if there's anything, if we need to do follow-up, we'd like to know who you are and how we can get a hold of you. Okay, so.
Hello, my name is Angela Diaz, and I am a driver at First Student. That's why I'm here today. I had questions over the bidding. I understand the process of sealed bids and all that, but, so you're saying, I got a copy of the bid, and it said in the corner T2, proposal based on T2, which would mean 20 routes. But you're saying 39 now.
Because that's what we're currently providing, based on first student's information.
Okay, but, well, that's what I said, the proposal said based on T2.
And
So
if
they made two
I'm
bids?
sorry, Angela, if I could jump in real quick. This is actually a board meeting, so if you could present your questions to the board. And
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay. And typically what we do, if the board chooses to respond, we will. If
Okay.
not, if it's a discussion, we typically have that after the board meeting.
Okay.
Or we'll put it off
Well,
to the
that
side.
was one thing I had a
Yeah.
question about, because it did say T2, and that would have been 20, and now I'm hearing 39. I'm just going by what I saw on the
Sure,
thing.
sure.
So, okay.
And I'm not trying to stop your questions. We'll get your
Well,
questions
no,
answered.
that's
I just
fine.
want to make sure
That's fine.
we're being respectful.
And I was also going to ask about high school students, but you're saying they are going to cover that? And is that going to be Lorain City School taking that back over?
The contract, again, can I answer?
Yeah.
The contract will remain is consistent with the expectations we have with First Student. It'll be an arrangement between First Student and our families, not the school district.
So it'd be an arrangement between Auxilio and
That's correct.
okay. Okay. That was the other thing I had.
But again, as I mentioned before the board meeting, if you have questions, you want to sit down, you, Mary, whoever can sit down and we'll answer all of your questions for you.
Okay, I might do that because I'm just confused how they got to put in two bids or whatever, because she said they rebid. All right, thank you.
Can we clarify that though, real quick? Because I'm sure other people have that. She said that they had them, right, they didn't rebid, they just clarified their, correct? Okay.
Correct. The first one, based on the T2s, had 20, I think it was actually 24 buses on it. And then, or it may have been 20, I would have to go back and look. But based on first students' numbers, what they are charging us for every month is 39 routes.
Can you speak to the difference between a T2 report and what is actually happening? And
So-
should there be a difference between the T2 report and what's actually happening, I guess is my question?
I can't. There shouldn't be a difference.
Yeah. So that's why there was confusion, because the information we were acting from was not accurate.
Correct.
Because it was from a year. A week of my training.
Yeah, and I can answer that, because the T2s are always a year in.
Well, yeah, I was gonna clarify that for him.
So, yeah, so they are always based on the year before. And
Mm-hmm.
last year, we were being charged for 40 buses, so it should have said 40, not 20. So just for clarification. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have to look into that again. And my last question was about the bidding was, that it also requested that they list all their, fleet list, how many buses and the ages of their buses. And they did not provide that in their proposal either. That I could
Thank you.
find, and I looked through the proposals.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Angela, I would encourage you to get with Dr. Graham and Mary Mays with any questions, and not only yours, but in any of your,
Bring anybody you want. Yeah, we'll sit down and meet with
Yeah.
anybody. Hmm?
Okay.
Please. Just let us know how many so we know how big of a room to get.
okay, because she is going to ask a question.
I really don't have questions to ask, but I know that some information was passed down from our boss to us about this meeting before it even happened, that we were being let go as of the end of the school year this year. And I know the board didn't get to vote on it, and there was people missing, and some people didn't even know about it. So I guess my question would be, the only question I have, is how that information gets to us about being fired at the end of the school year before anything even happens.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah.
There was a letter that Mary wrote that she mentioned that's from the committee recommending Auxilio, but also as a professional courtesy, we would let first student know that we were not recommending them. It's typical to let people know when they apply for a job that you didn't get the job, or you apply for a service and you didn't get the service.
Right, but how
But-
do you know? Because we haven't even voted yet. They haven't voted.
If you look at the second paragraph of that letter, it says this committee will be recommending.
Right, and
just
then
like-
at the end, it says, we will no longer need your services.
We were based on the recommendation.
That's not what it says.
Understood? Thank you.
And then my other question is, it's 4% that you're saving by the 1.6 million. So I feel like the safety that we go through and the things that we go through every day, we have like 13 high school buses that we run every day. The state does not supply money for those buses. So if they're gonna pay that money for that, I would just wonder how that's gonna work out, like if you don't get money from the state. Because we don't, I know Lorain City doesn't get money for the state for those. So where does that money come from? It's just gonna be between the parents like we do for them?
The expectations.
Was that your statement earlier? Okay. That was it? Okay. I guess that's it. I just wondered how we could be fired before it was even voted on. That's all. Thank you.
We didn't fire them, that was the company.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to speak? Okay, need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Washington,
Yes.
Mrs. Zario,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any old business? Okay, report and recommendations from the treasurer.
I have items 8.01 and 8.02 for approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Zario,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
and Ms. Washington.
Yes.
Okay, reports and recommendation of the CEO personnel matters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like the board to consider for approval items 9.01 to 9.04 personnel matters.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Washington,
Yes.
Mrs. Zario,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Reports and recommendations of the CEO, Operations Manager.
I'd like the board to consider for approval items 10.01 to 10.09, operation matters.
Do I have a motion for that?
Moved.
10.1
Second.
I'm sorry, I apologize. 10.01 to 10.19.
I was like, hang on,
Thank
we're
you.
missing something.
No, where the pause was there, yeah. It was.
And again, so moved.
And still seconded.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Ms. Nazario,
Yes.
and Ms. Washington.
Yes.
Trying to get to 10.1, there it is. Okay. Do you have any reports or recommendations of the CEO on other matters? Do
I do not.
we have any new business? Committee reports or requests from board members? Okay, we have a second hearing of the public. If anybody would like to speak.
My question didn't get answered. About the buses not being in the proposal. Nobody answered my question.
I don't have the proposal in front of me. I can meet with you afterwards, but I don't have it here.
Okay.
It's the hearing of the public, not a question and answer.
Okay.
What do you
So
say?
there was a hearing from the public, not a question and answer. I wasn't trying to be rude. I just wanted to know if it was required to be in the RFP, why it wasn't.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, no board versus. Our next meeting will be May 9th at 5 o'clock here. Okay, we're going to executive session for A2 plus D, employment and negotiations. Have a motion?
So moved.
No, there'll be no action coming out.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Washington,
Yes.
Ms. Nazario,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going into executive session.